do it. Can someone? Thank you.
Mhm.
Okay, so these are the important things you need to know to work with your DSCR lender, whether it is for a fix and flip or a rental. And again, this came from a mentee that I am partnering with who just didn't know any of this stuff. And I just kind of thought everyone knew this stuff. So here we go. First is we're going to just teach you how to get your ducks in a row. So this presentation is not about how to apply. We have a program once a month on Zoom called Lunch with a Lender. They will go over all that. If you want to go back to those basics, get on that call, come to the early meeting in Raleigh in September, and there will be some of that information there. So this presentation, you've already submitted your application. You've submitted whatever documentation they require, driver's license, whatever, and you've received some sort of approval. So you're like, yeah, I'm ready to go, right? But no, it's just the beginning. So we are going to teach you how to impress your lender in 10 easy steps. If you make your lender's job easy, they will work with you again and again and again. And when they see that email come in from you, they will be very happy to see you and they will approve you. I have a lender now. I just email her and it's approved within an hour, and you can get there too. So the first thing that you need to submit your purchase contract. I don't go into any detail on this because I assume that everyone on this call knows what a purchase contract is. If you do not, I highly suggest that you go join a new investor subgroup and get yourself that Express Success course. But one of the first things you'll want to send to your lender is your purchase contract. That will need to be a signed contract. They will need to know the buyer name, seller name, closing date, and purchase price. So make sure that you get that to them. Number 2, submit the comps. Well, oh my gosh, how do I do that? So let me talk about this for a minute. When you get a DSCR loan, as I said, your lender is making you that loan based on the strength of the property. Well, some lenders do not require you to submit comps. They'll go look for themselves. A lot of these, and there are 2 categories of DSCR loans. Some do require an appraisal. MC Mortgage does. Some do not. I prefer the ones who don't because it makes the process go faster and it saves you, that $500. So if you are dealing with a lender that requires an appraisal, you will not need to submit the comps. But if you are not, always submit the comps, even if they don't need them. Why? Because you're controlling what they see. My lender doesn't even go look for comps anymore because she trusts mine. Well, how do you do that? I am going to, whoops, sorry. I'm going to reshare the screen and try to show you here how to do this. Where did it go? Sort of pre-saved all these things so it would go quicker, but this one seems to have disappeared. Weird. Okay, 1 second here. Now you may have, taken some classes on comps before, or seen some presentations. I know Jackie does a good one, so we are not going to spend a lot of time on this. But we are just going to go over it real quickly so you have a general idea of how to do this. So all I did here was put in this address. Are you guys seeing this, Zillow? Okay, so I just put in the address of 618 Belvin. This is actually a house I'm working on right now. And we never pay attention to the Zillow estimates, the Zestimates, but what is helpful is to come down here to comparable homes, okay? I have a 3-bedroom, 1-bath, 997 square foot house. Here I see one that sold a month ago with 3 bedrooms, 2 baths, 1030 square feet. So it's a little bigger, but it's very close. So I'm going to click on that. I'm going to look and see that it's been updated. And if I feel that is a good comp, I'm just going to go right up here. I'm going to capture the link. I'm going to go to my email. Are you guys seeing my email? Or sometimes the screen doesn't switch when you're doing this. Yes, no, okay. Yeah, it's an annoying feature. All right, so I'm just gonna go right to my email and I'm going to start a new email. If I can figure out how to do it here. Zoom just messes everything up. Okay, so I just start a new email. I go here and just pop the link in there, and then I'm going to do that 2 or 3 times. I want at least 3 good comps. If you find 4 or 5, that's great. If you are not finding enough of sold comps, you can go in and list some that are for sale. Did I switch over to connected investors now? Okay. Of course you want sold ones. You want sold comps. So if you find 4 or 5 good sold comps, you're good. But if you don't, then you could go in and find a couple that are listed. If you do that, don't try to pass them off as a sold comp. Make sure and make a note in your email to your lender that this is for sale. I've had to do that a couple times. This is connected investors. This is the second thing I always do after I do what I just showed you. I would do the same thing here. I would put in 618 Belvin. I would pull that property up. Connected Investors has a real nifty feature here where you can go down here and this is your property and you just need to click on recent sold. It'll bring up a ton of recent sales right there. You just click on those and that's another way to get good comps. If you are not a member of Connected Investors, then you can go on our vendor page and there's a special code to join. There's a $1,500 upfront fee that is waived for our members. So those are the way you get your comps. And then you pop those in an email and send them to your lender. So that is submitting the comps. Okay. If you guys have any questions, feel free to stick them in the chat. Number 3, submit your proof of funds. Well, this is very simple. What is proof of funds? Your lender is going to require that you show that you have enough money to cover a certain amount of months of the debt service and the down payment. So all you have to do to submit your proof of funds is send a bank statement. This would be from your company account, but many lenders also, if you have more than one, like if you have a personal account or an investment account or a money market, you can, so if you don't have the required money in the one account, then you can submit several. Some lenders only ask for 1 month, some ask for 3. I don't think I've ever seen more than 3, but either way, just download your bank statements, get them in PDF format and pop them in an email and send them to your lender. Again, if you do all this up front before being asked, your lender is going to love you. Okay, submit your PFS. What is a PFS? A PFS is a personal financial statement. This is one here. This is a link to it. I was trying to copy it and put it in the chat, but I'm unable to do so. But you know what? I can, before we go, I can put all these links in the chat for you if you don't want to. I guess you could just take a picture of it and go from there. Some banks have their own they want you to use, but most of them will accept it if you already have it done. So I've just copied it here so you can see what it is. It's basically like your personal, it's your personal financial statement. They are going to likely want it on you instead of your company because you are going to be the guarantor of this loan. But you can also, for this purpose, mix them. In other words, you can list your properties, even if they're owned in your LLC, as well as, like some personal assets. They for this purpose, most lenders will allow that. That just shows you what it is. You list your real estate, securities, basically all your assets here. And then on the first page, it sort of summarizes all that up. So you're going to take your numbers from the second page, plug them in here. And at the end here, it's going to give you your net worth. It's a good exercise and your lender's going to want to see that. So submit your personal financial statement. Number 5, submit your SOW. What is an SOW? That is your scope of work. Why does your lender want to see that? Well, because you're asking them to loan you money based on a certain amount of work that you want to do. And this is what that looks like. This is from one certain particular lender. Some lenders do have their own they want you to use, so it wouldn't do you any real good to have this. This is for one particular lender. And what you do here is just fill out your estimate of your repairs. Some lenders may let you use your own if you have a form that you like, but generally they want it on their form for this. Unlike the personal financial statement, they generally want it on their form. So one little trick of the trade that I do here, so when you get one of these loans, let's say this is for a rehab loan. Obviously, if this is for a rental, a scope of work would not be required if you're not fixing it up. Then when your loan funds, you buy the property, then you have to start the repairs. For these loans, to get your draws, you have to submit that the thing is done. On this particular lender, one thing I like about them is when you submit this scope of work, all you do, when my demo's done, I submit them an email. They have a special email department for draws. I send them an email. They send me this little app. I have to go in and take pictures on it. So they have pictures from before so they can see that the demo is done, and then they will fund me that amount. There's a fee for draws, so I usually wait to group a bunch of things together at once. But one little trick of the trade here, so my demo is not going to cost $7,000, but I like to sort of front load my money so then I have more than I'm not coming out of my pocket next time. It's in no way ripping the lender off. They're not giving you any more. They're going to give you the same amount at the end of the day, so it doesn't matter. I just sort of front load it and budget a little bit that way. That way I get a little more upfront, and instead of coming out of my pocket, I'm just working with money that they've already sent to me. So that's one thing that I like to do. And you guys did see that, right? Did it come up? Okay. All right. So submit your scope of work. I think I also copied it here, but I wanted to show it to you where I could navigate because it's so small and hard to see this. Okay. So this one's really important. Summarize your property info and your info. The way I like to do this, and you can come up with your own system of organization, but what I do is I get together all this information and I put it in an email, and then I attach all these other things that we just went over. My goal is if I can do one big email, that puts it all easily in one place for them. You know, sometimes you can't do that. Maybe there's something you don't have together yet. Fine, send a second email. But boy, if you can put in these 20 items and then do all the attachments, your bank statements, your scope of work, your personal financial statement, all these things we're going over, your lender's going to super love you because now they don't have to go search through your emails. So take a screenshot of this if you want to see it. I can also, we will have this recording. The way you access that is only available for people who are here in the meeting. Within a couple days, it will be on the website. The way you get to that is you go to click on the calendar for the date of this meeting, prep virtual, you scroll down and you'll see the video. So if you're, not wanting to take notes or screenshots, you can always go back and review this again. But there's nothing here that really I don't think we need to talk about. It's very basic: address, your purchase price, your rehab budget. Are you also wanting to finance your rehab? Yes, of course. What's their ARV? Current bed bath of the house? Are you changing it? Are you adding square footage? What work you're going to do? And you don't have to be real detailed there because they are going to have that scope of work. I just give sort of general, like new flooring, new bathroom, new kitchen replaced, light fixtures. Basics are really fine there. Your name, if you have a co-borrower, the name of your entity that you close in, your credit score, what available liquid assets or cash you have. And here's where we get into that, thing where they're going to determine what your rate is. How many have you done in the last 2 years? What is your occupation? Are you going to sell this or rent it? Your phone number and your email. So super basic stuff. Then submit your track record, and that goes along with that question in the email. There's going to be some lenders have a form, but if they don't, you can find one online or just make your own. But this is the information you need to have in it. It's you're currently working on it or it's been completed. Was it a fix and flip, new construction, or a rental? name of the purchaser. And the reason they ask that is because, you might purchase in different entities or your own name. So they don't want to, they want to make sure you get credit for all of that. And if they're checking them, you'll list the name so they can verify that, because they do verify these. Again, they don't like for me now, but when you're new with the lender, they will verify them. Property address, purchase date, purchase price, what was your rental cost, what was your sale price, what was your sale date, or if it's a rental, what is the monthly income. So this is how you prove to your lender your experience. Okay, submit your articles of incorporation. And I'm going to teach you how to find this, because the thing I found with my current student is they had no idea how to get this. So as we mentioned, you have to be doing it in an entity. Usually that's an LLC. So I've used LLCs for purposes of this. And you go to the Secretary of State website. Are you guys, shoot, I don't know what you're seeing. It messed up again. Hold on. Are you seeing Secretary of State with an orange bar at the top? No. Okay, hold on.
It was Secretary of State, but what's the orange bar for?
There, now you seeing it?
Now we see it.
Okay, so this is where you start. Look at that link up top, sosnc.gov. If you're doing loans, you need to have that in your favorites because you will use it a lot. There's different ways to get to this. The easiest one for me is I click on I want to. I go down here to search for a business. Click on that and I'm going to look for my own business because that's what you're going to be looking for. So this is the name of my company. Search. Then it's going to bring up my company. I'm going to click on it. Then you see this little list up here. I'm going to look at view filings. Click on that. This is what I'm looking for, my articles of organization. Click on that. It's going to bring you up a PDF and this is what you're going to need to submit to them. Okay. So again, you're going to download this. Just click on file, download, save it, and then include it in your email. That is how to get your articles of organization. All right, so ignore these next slides. Sometimes using the internet doesn't work, so I made a slide for each of those steps, but I was able to show you, so it doesn't matter. Okay, obtain an EIN and submit. Your lender's going to ask for sometimes a W-9, but usually they actually want the letter from the IRS. So whenever you set up these slides are out of order. I'm so sorry. I skipped from, whatever. So when you set up your LLC, you have to go get an EIN, employer ID number. It is essentially the social security number for your business. That link there at the bottom is a link where you can click on that and get it online. You can submit online and get your EIN. Once you get it, if you do it online, you will instantly get a letter from the IRS. Do not lose that. Download it, save it, because most lenders want to see the actual EIN letter. You can make a W-9, but for most lenders, that is not good enough because they want to see the actual EIN letter from the IRS. And so make sure you save it when you get it. And you should get that as soon as you set up your company, but you will need to submit that letter. Okay. And then lastly, you are going to submit your operating agreement. Now, unlike what we just went through with the articles of organization, operating agreements are not recorded anywhere. An operating agreement is akin to bylaws of a corporation. It is an internal document. And this is the one that really killed me with my current mentee because she didn't have any idea what this was or why she needed it. And now I will tell you, if you are a single member LLC, it makes absolutely no sense to have an operating agreement, except one thing, because think about it. An operating agreement governs the relationship between the partners. If you have more than one member in your LLC, you absolutely 100% need an operating agreement. It talks about everything from, expenses, investments, how you split up proceeds. It has, legal language, how relationships between partners, i.e. members, are handled. So you absolutely have to have it. But if it's just you, like, why does that matter? The answer is it does not, and you absolutely do not need one, except when you're getting a loan. It doesn't matter if it's a DSCR lender or your regular old bank. They always, in fact, even to set up your bank account for your LLC, 9 out of 10 banks require it. I've found very few banks who do not, even though I always try to tell them it's just me, who cares? You know what? They're just checking boxes and they want to see it. So the best way to get an operating agreement is to have an attorney draft one. However, if you have partners, don't ever try to draft it yourself. It's too important. If it's just you, it really doesn't matter. So you could just go online and find a form and do it. These two links here are not links to an operating agreement form. They are instead links to articles that will explain to you what an operating agreement is and why you need it. The second one, and specifically, is why you need it for a single member LLC. But most people have their attorneys draft them. It's probably like $500. It's not expensive. And it's well worth it. But if you are bound and determined to do your own, you can search online and get a form. So although they were out of order, those are the 10 things that you need to do to submit, to have ready to impress your lender and make your loan process go smoothly. And if you don't understand any of those things, please do go back and educate yourself on them. Because you will make your lender very happy. And if your lender's very happy, then you are going to be a very happy borrower. And why does that matter? Because, if you are going to be an investor, one of the most important things you need to be able to scale is a source of funds. Now, whether that is from a private lender or a DSCR lender or your home equity, doesn't really matter, but you have to have a source of funds. If you are getting a loan, pulling from like your home equity line or something like that, and their requirements here might be different. And if you have a private lender, someone who lends just to you, like I know Leslie has someone, they pretty much just lend to her, and she probably doesn't have to submit any single thing. And that's great if you have someone like that. But you need to be aware of all the options, because certainly if you can pull from your home equity line of credit, then that's going to be your best interest rate, easiest, cheapest, bar none. And then on the other end of that, your private lenders are going to be your most expensive. And then in the middle are these DSCR fix and flip loans. Their rates are going to be anywhere from probably 9 to 11%, a little higher if you're brand new. They're easy to get because, again, you can have bad credit. It doesn't matter as long as they do pull your credit. And one time I asked her, why, if you don't care? She said, well, we just want to make sure you exist. So, you're a person, you have a credit file, but they don't care what your score is as long as that property will cover. And then you have all your ducks in a row and submit all this stuff. You have a bright future as an investor, because funding is one of the most important things that you will need. And if you're just doing one property every 5 years, maybe not so much. You can pull from that home equity. But if you want to scale, if you want to have multiple projects going on at a time, like I have 3, 4 going on right now, and there's no way I could do that with conventional loans. These loans do not report to your credit, so there's no limit on the number you can get. So they're really, really essential tools for an investor. It looks like I have a question in the chat. Can this be done via LegalZoom? Are you talking about the operating agreement? If you are, yes, it can. And if you are talking about articles of incorporation, I believe you can also do those through LegalZoom. My recommendation is to find a local attorney, because it's not that much more expensive, and LegalZoom can really screw stuff up, particularly if you're asking about the operating agreement. I would not do a LegalZoom. Again, if it's a single member and it's only you, absolutely pull a form off the internet and fill it in, or do LegalZoom, no problemo. If you have partners, do not do it yourself and do not use LegalZoom. I wouldn't recommend it because it's too important. Okay, so that is the presentation. Again, the recording will be available on the website by tomorrow. Does anyone have any other questions?
Hi, Kathy. I have a question. When you were talking about the, oh gosh, when they give you the money after you did a certain part of it, like the demolition
So yeah, so that's for, if you're doing a rehab loan, that's called your draws.
draw. Okay. So with the draws, you said after that particular task is done, then they release the money to you. So does that mean that you're paying for it out of your pocket up front and then they're reimbursing you?
Yes, absolutely. That,
Oh, okay.
again, there might be a few private lenders left out there that don't do that, but any kind of institutional lender is. I thought I recently read one, you know what? I did recently read one that said, we'll fund your draws and you don't have to come out of pocket. I need to go back and find that lender because that's a really rare thing. And that's one of the reasons I recommend being real careful about the way you put in your scope of work. That's why I sort of front load it. Like, again, my demo on that house is going to cost me under $2,000. I put 6 in there. You know, you can't, I wouldn't put 20 in there because they would know.
No.
But they're not going to know between 2 and 6. So now when I submit, when my demo is done tomorrow and I submit for it, I can get $6,000 for that. And now I'm paying out 2. Now I have 4. So I can now fund the next steps without going out of my pocket. So I've only had to come out of my pocket a couple $1,000s. And if you time it really well, you know, if you get your draw request in, this used to be important to me. It's not so much anymore, but if you're tight on funds, let's say I know my demo's finished tomorrow. Knowing that if I really wanted to not come out of pocket, I could have submitted my draw request like yesterday. This lender usually has it to me in one day, but to be safe, I could have submitted it yesterday. They would have sent me the camera request. I would go out there. But the camera has really specific instructions. It's a little app. You take pictures of exactly what they ask for. You send it to them. You have your funds next day at the latest. So if I had done that, I would have my funds by tomorrow, and then I could pay my demo guy when he's done, and then I didn't come out of pocket. So there are ways to game the system. If you don't mind, you know, getting that. Again, I don't usually do that because I think the draw fees, depending on the lender, is usually around $100. So I like to get only 2 or 3 draws per project. So I like to lump them all together. It saves me money. I'm cheap. But if you are tight on money, there are ways where you don't have to come out of pocket. And I'm keep mentioning the little camera app. You should also know some lenders actually send an inspector out to inspect. So it's going to be one or the other. That's an additional fee. That's another reason I like my lender, because they use that little camera thing. No inspection fees, just draw fees.
Okay. So you're not submitting receipts for what you
Some
pay
lenders
now?
ask for them and some don't. Here is where it helps to have a really friendly contractor who will put on your receipt whatever you tell them to.
Okay.
That's all I'm going to say about that.
Okay.
I'm
Okay.
not going to get on here and suggest that anyone commit fraud. All I'm saying is have good relationships with your contractors.
Okay.
Any
Thank
other
you.
questions? All right. Again, check for the recording tomorrow. I hope this has been helpful. I hope you guys have a great evening. We'll get you out of here early enough to go back and finish mowing your lawn or get in your pool. Thanks for being here. Hope y'all have a great
outside.